You should never, ever try to level up your friends and family when you're leveling up yourself. When you're going through a journey of growth, becoming a better version of yourself, becoming richer, becoming smarter, becoming hotter, you find out a lot of information and you start doing a lot of things that absolutely change your life for the better. And because your life is much better, you also want the people around you to feel better. Your friends, your family, you want to share this information that you have learned with them because you're a good person. You don't want them to miss out on their potential. You don't want them to not level up. You want them to grow with you. But that is one of the most dangerous things you can ever do when it comes to your own growth and leveling up journey. Because when you try to level up other people, they will start resenting you. They will start to think that you think you're better than them. And when they start thinking that you think you're better than them, they think you're threatening them. And you know what happens when people think you're threatening them? They're going to try to put you in your place. They're going to try to get you to stop. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to put a big block in your own growth journey because the people around you feel so threatened that they try to make you stop growing. The reason why your friends and your family or whoever you're close to are going to think that you trying to level them up is actually you thinking you're better than them is because they themselves are stuck in a cycle of comfortability. If they have not yet taken the responsibility to level up their lives, they're not going to be ready for anyone to help them with leveling up their lives. This is why it is essential that you do not try to level up your family and your friends, because it's something that every person has to go through themselves. That's also why when it comes to changing your life, blaming everything on everyone outside of you is never going to take you to where you truly want to go, because change happens with you, within you. It doesn't happen with everyone and their mom. It's not going to happen when society changes. Society and your world around you is only going to change when you change. And when you do level up and when you do start your self-growth journey, you're going to realize that. You're going to be so happy you put yourself in this uncomfortable situation of exiting your comfort zone. You're going to be happy that you took the risks and the chances that you took in order to grow mentally. But to other people that are still down here, while you're vibrating up here now, they're not going to see all the little small steps you went through to get up here. They're just going to see how far up you are. And you saying, you should be up here too, I'm going to help you, it's not going to come off as if you're saying, I want better for you. It's going to come off as if you're saying, you're all the way down there, ha ha. Because when your friends and your family are down here at the bottom of the mountain and you've already climbed a bit towards your own growth journey, first and foremost, you haven't reached the top yet. You're not yet in a position where no one from the ground can reach out to you. You're still in a position where people's opinions and voices and whatever they say to you might actually have an impact on you. When you're climbing up the mountain, you're still not on steady ground yet because it's a journey, which means that if you hear too many voices from down here, aka your friends and your family telling you, wow, what are you doing up there? Oh, you think you're better than us? That's going to make you more likely to go down the mountain to prove to your family that you're not a bad person, that you're a moral person, and you're not someone who's trying to prove that you're better than them. This is why it's a trap for you to try to level up your family and your friends, because they are going to tell you, or they're going to send off an energy that signals that you think that you're better than them, even though you aren't trying to say that. You just want to do what you think is the best for them. You just want to help them out. You want to see them grow. But to them, they think you've abandoned the tribe. You have abandoned the comfort zone where they live, and you sharing your ideas, sharing what you've learned, it's going to come off as if you want to force them to level up. And it's really, really nice to want your family and your friends to get a better life, but they haven't climbed up the mountain themselves, so they haven't seen how much your perspective can change when you start climbing. They only have whatever's in their own comfort zone. So every time you try to share your ideas on how to level up and how to make them better, how they should do what you're doing, they're gonna get the ick. They're gonna feel like you're foreign to them. And when you become foreign to your friends and your family, that's when they're going to try to keep you from climbing up the mountain. That's when they're going to start telling you that whatever you're doing is bad. It's not them, it's you. Because to them, what you're doing is super scary. And to you, you know for a fact with yourself that when you started this journey of becoming a better version of yourself, it was also really, really scary. So it's important that you remember the stage you had to go through of getting out of your comfort zone, how uncomfortable that was when you try to talk to everyone about how they should change their lives. Because when you understand that it is their duty to level up their own lives, not yours, you can actually focus more on your own growth journey, and you're not going to set yourself back because you're trying to prove to them that you're a good person, because you understand that it's not about you being a good person and proving to them that you're not trying to be mean by leveling them up. It's actually about you just taking your journey for yourself and them having to do whatever they need to do in order to get there. And if they start wanting to level up and want to talk to you about what you've done to get to where you are, then maybe you can start sharing it with them. But you cannot start sharing leveling up tips and how to become a better version of yourself with people that are not ready to take that step by themselves. Because when you force people to take a step, it's not going to feel true. It's not going to feel solid. It's going to feel forced. And when people feel forced, they're going to find something to blame whatever goes wrong on someone else. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to blame whatever goes wrong in their level up journey on you because you were the one who introduced them to it. And if you're not yet at the top of the mountain where you can sit and view as they make their way up the mountain themselves, where you can be someone who knows what's out there. You have unlimited perspective. You can literally see the whole world from the top of your mountain. If you had not yet made it up there, you cannot be the support that they need in order for them to climb. And you know what happens when you then force people into leveling up? You try to tell them that they need to level up. They're going to hang on to you for leveling up. They're going to cling on to you. And whatever goes wrong in their life, they're going to blame it on you. So instead of you just climbing your way up the mountain on your own, which in the first place is hard, you're literally climbing up a mountain of growth. It's not just some easy little thing. If you try to level up your friends and family as well, they're going to be hanging onto you while you're climbing. They're not going to be doing the climbing work. They're going to see a little shift in their perspective, but they're going to be hanging on to you. And they're going to be like, where are we going next? Why aren't you moving faster? Oh, you said this journey was easy. Oh, it's going to change my life. It doesn't look like it's changing your life. They're clinging on to you while you're trying your hardest to get up the mountain. Eventually, you might even fall down the mountain again. You might fall. And you might end up at the bottom of the mountain where you used to be and where your friends and family might be. And then you have to go up again. And the more you try to help people that are not interested in helping themselves, the harder it will be for you to go up that mountain again. Eventually, you're going to be tired. You don't want to go again. That's why you have to save your energy for yourself. And that's not being selfish. I know you mean well by trying to share your growth, by trying to share the way that you can change someone's life. I know you want to do the best for the people in your life. You're a good person. I know that. But you're setting yourself back. You have to put on your own oxygen mask first. You cannot be having people hang on to you when you are trying to climb the mountain for yourself. Because these people will tell you that it is your fault if they do not make any progress themselves. They will blame everything on you. So in reality, they will never take the responsibility that they truly need to take in order for them to level up. The responsibility that you have taken, the responsibility that you have embraced, and you understand that you need to get to the top. That's the only option for you. They won't understand that because you shared something with them that definitely resonated with them. But because they're not ready to embrace it, they're not ready to exit their own comfort zone, they're going to cling to you to get an easier ride, and it's going to keep you from actually getting to where you want to go. And then they're going to say, oh, it's really not that easy, is it, huh? Of course it's not that easy. You're taking on more than you should. You're taking on responsibility for people that are not your responsibility. Even if they're your family, even if they're your lifelong friends, even if they're your boyfriend, they are not your responsibility to level up. If they choose to level up themselves, it is your responsibility to shower them with admiration and positive comments because you understand that that's what growth stems from. But it is not your responsibility to take them on the journey, to make them do what they need to do. That is for them to do. And when they're doing that, then you can give them the praise that they need, but don't do the work for them. People will resent you for doing the work for them, even though they might be complaining all the time about how hard they have it. And now you've cracked the code to figure out how you can get better. They're still going to complain because they know that you're vulnerable. You're actually still a people pleaser to a certain point where you feel like you need to help them. Sharing is caring, but not when you're still a people pleaser. Not when you're trying to create a safety, a space for yourself where you have yourself 100%. Then sharing is just giving from a place where you don't yet have enough for yourself even. And in today's society, a lot of people want to talk about how, well, don't gatekeep your secrets. You don't want to share your truth. Why can't you share your dreams with me? But the truth is, protecting yourself while you're still growing is not you being some type of way. It's not you being immoral. It's not you being narcissistic. It's not you being anything. It's you showing up for yourself. And whatever people want to say that you are is only a reflection of the fact that they do not want to make any moves in their own lives. And that is not yours to care for. That is not yours to try to level up. Well, you might think they just need a little bit of a mentality change and I can show them how to do that. You should never have to show anyone that you can do what you need to do for yourself. You have to show it to yourself. And then when you get to the top of your mountain, when you get to where you need to go, when you start having the resources, the money, the company, the success, the freedom that you truly need for yourself, then you're already giving back because people can see that it is possible to get to where you need to go. But it will never be possible for you to get to where you need to go. You'll never be able to get to where you need to go if you do not put yourself first. And you're not a bad person for doing that. And it's going to be hard for you to let people go and leave people behind, but you're not leaving them behind. If they truly wanted to get to where you're going, they would do it themselves. And maybe when you get to the top, they will start doing it, but it's not yours to motivate. It is not your responsibility to take people to the next level because they're only going to resent you for it. They're going to blame everything on you. And that's going to keep you from actually getting to where you need to go if you haven't already gotten there. And you protecting yourself and focusing on your own growth has nothing to do with you just being a mean person who doesn't want to share any of their ways of getting what you need. You can absolutely share with the right people the tips that they might need in order to grow. But you have to be very, very careful with figuring out who's safe to share your dreams, visions, and goals with. Most people aren't safe. And that's because as soon as you start sharing what it is that you want, what it is you're working on, people are going to start giving you evil eye. Not because they're necessarily bad people, but because if they're not ready to take the step to do what you're doing, their body is naturally going to signal that whatever it is you're doing is bad. And they're going to start thinking things that tell themselves that whatever you're doing is too much, it's not right. They're going to try to find an alibi within their own heads. Essentially, their ego, their shadow self is going to try to find an alibi because it's not them, it's their repressed dreams and desires within them and their fear of taking the step into uncomfortability. That's going to try to keep you from doing more. And people's shadow selves, people's egos are there to deal with. They're not yours to deal with, they're theirs to deal with. Which is why it's important that you do not take it personally. When you do end up having a conversation with someone that you might think is someone you can share your growth with, and it turns out that they're not, you should never take it personally. It's very important to understand that these people are going through something themselves and they're not ready to exit their comfort zone, which is why their energy changes towards you. And that's why you feel like you need to lower yourself. You need to climb down your mountain to tell them that it's okay. That's because you're a good person. You're a person who wants to accommodate people, but you cannot accommodate people if you haven't yet accommodated yourself fully. And a lot of people today, they try to tell you that you need to be nice, you need to be good, you need to accommodate everyone in order for you to get to the top. But that's just not the truth because it's going to weigh you down. If you're giving from depleted storage, you not having enough for yourself, you still feeling like you have to people please, you still feeling that whatever it is people say is something personally against you, if you have any of those feelings within yourself, then you might not be ready to give back. And you really, really have to work on yourself first. When you've gotten to a point where suddenly you don't take anything personally, even when people tell you you're a mean, rotten person, even when people tell you that you should climb down the mountain and you should apologize to them for taking a leap of faith for your own benefit, when you don't take anything personally yet and you understand that people are dealing with their own things, that's when maybe you can start giving. But you have to make sure that you're at a place where your journey is forward and not backwards. That whatever it is you're giving to people is something that's going to propel you forward and not going to propel you backwards. Because when you have less than enough for yourself, then whatever it is you give to people is you being depleted. But when you start having enough, then you can give advice, you can give, and you don't take things personally. You don't feel like whatever it is people say when they don't like what you're saying is something against you, is something that's going to stop you. Because you've made it so far up the mountain that you understand that there are going to be people at the bottom of the mountain that are going to feel threatened. And it's normal. You understand that. And you even kind of respect it because you were there before. And respecting people for their individuality, for the journey that they're going through, has nothing to do with respecting that they're telling you what they're telling you. You shouldn't respect people saying that you're a mean person, you're arrogant. You have to accept that people are going to tell you that you're mean, you're arrogant, you're narcissistic, whatever it is you're trying to do is not realistic and you're bad. You're going to have to accept that. But it is important that you respect people and you find a way within yourself to see that they're just dealing with their own stuff down here. You don't have to respect what it is they're doing and telling you, but just respect the fact that they're dealing with their own stuff, because that way you can move on for yourself. I know for a fact that I have family members where I've many times tried to level them up. And I've had this conversation with my brother many times because me and my brother were both people that really want to do the best for people. We're both people that listen a little too much sometimes, and we've both been in situations where we've been the one who's almost been a therapist to other family members because they weren't ready to change their own lives, and we felt like we needed to give back to them. And I remember having a conversation with my brother where we talked about the fact that it is not our duty to try to level up any of our family members. It is not our duty to try to save anyone. And it is so important that we do not take it personally whenever a family member says something towards us that might come off a little conceited. Even though it may feel hard, luckily I have my brother to talk through that with, and we both see eye to eye. We both understand that sometimes people are going to say stuff because it's something that reflects something within themselves they haven't worked on. It's not a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of the fact that we're doing something for ourselves and that's making them feel some type of way within themselves. It's nothing to do with us. It's actually more to do with us actually growing, which is just a good sign. But we have family members we're going to see once in a while. That's natural. We haven't cut these people out completely. And that's how it is sometimes with family members. When you're trying to level up yourself, it is important to have a sort of respect for a person. Maybe it's your family members, maybe it's your friends. Not having respect for their actions and their words necessarily, but having respect for the fact that they are people. They're people that are doing what they're doing because they think that that's the right thing to do. That doesn't mean that it's the right thing in your eyes. It doesn't mean that it's a good thing in your eyes. It doesn't mean that you respect their behavior. But when you respect the fact that they're a person, then suddenly you don't take whatever they're saying personally as much anymore. And you're also going to have to accept that they say, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't level up. Oh, yeah, it's so easy, huh? Or whatever they might say, because they might say it in a way that's a little nicer or more conceited than that. But it's just an example. Whatever it is they might say to you, just accept it. Maybe even say, you know what? I love this. Don't say it to them, say it to yourself. Because then you're not letting their words have any power over you. This is so important to do when you're leveling up and you have understood that it's not your duty to level up your family and your friends, but you're still sometimes forced to hang around your family. or whoever you have to hang around with. This could be coworkers, whoever it might be that you have to hang around sometimes. It is very important that you just accept the fact that they might have something to say that you do not like. And that does not mean you respect what they're saying. It does not mean you're respecting their behavior at all. It just means you prioritize your peace and you prioritize your growth instead of spending all of the energy that you deserve to spend on yourself on trying to make them better people, trying to make them level up with you. Because it is not your duty. It is not yours to do. When you level up, they can see that you're an example. And when you level up, they can't reach you anymore. So they can scream at you all they want, or they can try to rise to your level. Don't let yourself get set back by feeling that you need to respect everyone's opinion about you, that you need to correct them if they have some sort of opinion about what you're doing. First and foremost, you shouldn't share with people what it is you're trying to do for yourself. Throughout your growth journey, it is going to become apparent that you are becoming a better version of yourself because it's just going to shine from you and people are going to try to get you down. That's natural. But in general, it is very important that you gatekeep your dreams and your hopes and your visions to yourself and only share it with those that are very necessary for you to share it with. Like maybe your spouse, maybe your brother, someone you know that you can trust and who's also working on themselves. But don't share it with anyone who has any tiny little bit of resentment. Don't share it with anyone you could imagine saying, oh, I could never do that. Oh, that's not for me. Wow, you're really doing that? Are you sure you want to do that? Don't share any of that with them. Because that's just them reacting and trying to get you to come down from the mountain to make them feel better and to validate them. And it is not your duty to validate them. When you try to validate other people, you're taking away from the validation you should be giving yourself. And then in the long run, you become dependent on other people's validation. That's why people end up becoming people pleasers, or at least being stuck in a people pleasing position, because they're so dependent on being good and moral in other people's eyes and showing that they don't mean them no harm, that they activate this validation muscle within themselves and they stoop down from the mountain climbing they've been doing. They stoop down from their own higher frequency to match other people's, because remember this, people can never ever rise to your frequency if they're not willing to do the work. You can only lower yourself. They have not done the work to be able to get there, so they're not going to be able to rise. The only person who will be compromising themselves is going to be you. And you shouldn't be compromising yourself. And the more you compromise yourself, the more you go down on their level, the more you climb down the mountain, the more of a people pleaser and more validation you're going to want. Of course, you're going to want that because it is going to be harder for you to climb back up the mountain again. And then you're going to have to be dependent on people down here telling you that whatever you're doing is okay, making decisions for you, because you have tired yourself out. You have taken away every sense of intuition from yourself because you went against your intuition, you went against your desires, and you climbed down the mountain. You said, I prioritize people liking me more than I prioritize me getting what I truly want. And people don't really like you for validating them. They numb their own pain within themselves and it stops them from working on themselves. So actually, the nicest thing you could do, the easiest way for you to get to make people level up themselves, the way for you to level up your friends and your family is to level up yourself and not step down. Not lower yourself when they try to tell you that what you're doing is bad and dangerous, that it's not right for you. The nicest, most moral, selfless thing you can do when it comes to getting your family and friends to become better versions of themselves is for you to stick to becoming a better version of yourself. Because then you're not feeding their validation, their alibi, them telling themselves that whatever they're doing is good and right. You're not feeding that if you keep walking up the mountain. But as soon as you lower yourself to make other people feel good about not doing what they need to do to get to where they need to go, then you're keeping them in the same spot, because then they have you to rely on. They have you to keep them within their comfort zone. This is why it is quintessential when you're trying to become richer, better, smarter, hotter, that you quit hanging out with people that are negative, people that have victim mentalities, and even people that are broke mindset wise, because you just hanging around them is literally you validating their existence. And it sounds really, really, really harsh. It sounds really, really bad because it is. Becoming a better version of yourself is not easy. It is something that takes work. And it's very easy to never level up when everyone else around you is affirming that whatever it is you're doing is okay. And by just saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to stick by their side. I'm going to let them know that everything is okay. I'm going to affirm their negative beliefs. I'm going to tell them, yes, of course you're a victim. Of course the system is bad. The more people that tell them that, the more they can hang on to the truth that they've created for themselves. And eventually, you're going to be the one who ends up in the same situation as them. You're going to end up feeling resentful as well because now you're their caretaker, and the caretaker often ends up having a victim complex themselves because they understand that if they'd actually taken their journey for themselves and prioritized their own needs first, they would have been at the top of the mountain. But they don't want to realize that. They don't want to admit that. They don't want to understand that them being the caretaker, them validating whoever feels bad, is actually keeping them from growing themselves. So they're going to start blaming the outside world as well as the person they're taking care of. And that just breeds more and more people with victim complexes. You cannot give in to people who are negative, who have victim complexes, to people who only want to talk about how broke they are, to people that want to talk about how something is never going to become better and the world economy is just going into flames. If you entertain that, then you're going to become that, because where energy flows, energy goes. So wherever you pay attention, that's what's going to become reality. And if you are affirming to someone that they're a victim, that everything around them is negative, just to be nice, just to be a good person, then eventually you're going to start acting the same way they do. And you're going to want someone to affirm to you that you're a victim. And you're going to get mad at people that don't want to comply, that don't want to feed your victim complex. And then you're going to call them narcissistic or bad. Horrible people. They don't respect me. They don't respect what I'm going through. You know what? They understand that the best thing that they can do for you is to leave you figuring out your own problems. That's why when you're leveling up your own life, you cannot go down and help people if you haven't already made it to the top of the mountain. Because when you make it to the top of the mountain, you have enough, you have more than enough, and you're not giving in a way that depletes you. You're giving in a way that makes you even better. And the best thing you can do for your family and your friends is for you to focus on leveling up yourself, not leveling them up. The easiest way to get your friends and your family to take responsibility for themselves and create a better life for themselves is to deplete them of what validates their negative mindsets and take the energy you were spending on that and putting it into your own growth so that you become better, and eventually they realize that they're going to have to become better themselves. And now they have you as a role model because you focused on yourself, and they don't have anything to cling on to validate their alibi. So now they're going to have to work. They're going to have to take responsibility. Sometimes that's what they need. And that's not you being mean. That's not you being a bad person. That's you prioritizing what you need to prioritize. Because people are going to think that you think you're better than them if you try to make them level up. And you don't think that. You want the best for them, but doing the best for them is you choosing to do the best for you. So don't try to level up your friends or your family. Focus on yourself first.